Our top headlines. We look at the reaction to the federal budget. Oakville takes steps to address coyote problem. And it's Manatee Appreciation Day around the world. Good afternoon. It's Wednesday, March the 29th. I am Dalia Sibe. Our top story, the federal budget has provoked a call to action from the Toronto Deputy Mayor, Jennifer McKelvey, who says that the provincial budget is supporting the city while the federal government is not. Cassie Nicholas has more on this story.
Thanks, Dalia. The reaction from Deputy Mayor McKelvey this morning is a plea for help. The federal government has announced the 2023 budget, and she said it does not support the City of Toronto in the way that they need. McKelvey said that the federal government is not assisting with the hundreds of thousands of dollars that the Toronto budget shortfalls. She said that while the government is trying to increase the growth of Canada, Toronto is still recovering from taking on added expenses throughout COVID. The main expenses that Toronto has assumed have been paying for the decreasing ridership on the TTC and the increasing number of funding for the homeless.
We have been very clear to the Government of Canada what the city's needs are and about the importance of supporting Toronto, the country's economic engine. My job right now is to stand up for Toronto, and I won't hesitate to fight to make sure our city and its residents receive our fair share from other governments. Our advocacy will continue in the weeks and months ahead.
The federal government has said that they are creating a stronger, more sustainable future by introducing and improving allocated funding. They are introducing a new grocery rebate to help with the increasing cost of groceries that Canadians have seen due to inflation. They are also adding $198.3 billion within healthcare to help with the backlogs and to expand and improve the current family healthcare services. They are implementing a new Canadian dental care plan that will provide dental coverage to certain uninsured Canadians. They are also prioritizing a clean Canada while focusing on emission reductions, electrification, infrastructure, and by providing more affordable energy to millions of Canadian homes. Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland says that the inflation rate is going down and that the rate has dropped for 8 months in a row and will continue to have a positive impact on Canadians.
We are refocusing government spending while taking great care not to reduce the services and direct support that Canadians rely on. By exercising fiscal restraint, we're ensuring that we can continue to invest in Canadians and in the Canadian economy for years to come, just as we have done since 2015.
Here's what some Sheridan students had to say about the federal 2023 budget.
I think it's pretty great for students actually. Like, we're international students and we probably spend around $200 or $300 for groceries, and I think it will be really great help.
The cost of living is just insane, so helping out with like groceries and like being able to like actually afford like stuff other than just like microwavable meals would be awesome. So I think that's great. Yeah, it would really help me.
Although the federal budget of 2023 is implementing new funding, the City of Toronto feels that the federal government does not directly positively impact the city. The long-term financial budget and the new Smart Track Transit were among the discussion items to be brought up today at the City Council meeting. McElvey says that the federal government cannot forget about the larger cities that have been struggling. Back to you, Dahlia.
Thanks, Cassie. Chair of the Toronto Transit Commission, John Burnside, says police arrested 314 people and referred 220 others to social services. This was during the 6-week period of increased police presence on the transit system. More than 80 police officers worked overtime on patrol in the TTC in late January in response to a spate of violence in the system, but those shifts ended 2 weeks ago. Toronto City Council meets today for the first time after former Mayor John Tory resigned. In a 3-day meeting, councillors will act on a number of items, including declaring the mayor's office vacant and passing a bylaw mandating a by-election. Following the bylaw's approval, nominations for the mayoral race are expected to open on April 3rd and close on May 12th, with advance voting available from June 8th to June 13th. The Hamilton City Council voted 10-6 in favor of passing a new budget today. The council met this morning to vote on the city's next budget and a 6.7% tax increase. The budget will look to address issues such as affordable housing, homelessness, climate change, and cycling infrastructure, areas which some councillors say have been overlooked in previous budgets. With the approval, the budget for 2023 will be over $251 million. Since spring is popping season for coyotes, they become more visible during this time of the year. So, what should we do if we come across one of them in our neighborhood? Mehmet Honor has the answer.
If you hear this sound in your neighborhood, don't be alarmed. It's a coyote howl, and coyotes are found in urban areas throughout North America, including Oakville. Due to their dwindling habitats, coyotes are venturing into neighborhoods and yards in search of food and water. Professor Simon Gedwal from Dalhousie University has more about coyotes.
Typically, you start probably seeing them a little bit more active at this time of year. This is because they are, if they're not denning yet, they will soon, meaning that they will actually find a den and have their young in that den. That is typically April, though in Canada, but again, it can start as early as March, technically.
Town of Oakville invites residents to learn more about coyotes at online information session tonight at 6 p.m. The purpose of the event is to provide residents with a better understanding of coyotes. Residents will also have the opportunity to ask questions. Pre-registration for the event can be made on the Town of Oakville website.
I understand why some people could be worried if a coyote approaches them. Then the trick is this: never run away. That is the worst thing you can do, because like any predator, it doesn't matter which predator, the reaction will be to run after you.
I've seen them a few times. I live down at Bronte and Lakeshore area, so I'm down by the water there. So I've been seeing them probably, I would say, at least a half a dozen times a year. I feel sorry for them because I feel like we've pushed them out of their homes, and that's why they're on our streets.
Coyotes thrive and survive very well in a more than human world. That doesn't mean that they don't face moment to moment or daily struggles, but if they're able to raise their families, teach their young ones how to navigate in urbscapes, and they're not provided food resources, coyotes can do very well, because in cities, there's green space, there's water, there's ample food resources, natural food resources. And so we run into these conflict situations when people have inappropriate boundaries or expectations of coyotes and other wildlife.
Well, I've seen them over the years, but this year there's more than usual, and I think it's a bigger problem this year. So I think even though coyotes have a right to be here, there's too many of them, and they don't have any predators. So they're the eighth predators, and there's just becoming too many of them. So they have a right to be here, but I think we need to do something to reduce the number somewhat.
Coyotes are neither our friends nor our enemies. If you encounter one of them, remember the advice of Professor Simon Gedward. For more details on the coyotes, join Town of Oakville's online event tonight at 6 p.m. For Sheridan Sun, I am Mehmet Onur.
Now with the first look at the weather forecast with Paulina Rose. Paulina? Cool.
Thanks, Dahlia. It is 8 degrees outside, but feels like 2. And despite the warmer weather happening earlier, there is a slight drizzle happening, and winds coming in at 32 kilometers per hour just northwest of us. Later this evening, we can expect some mixed precipitation to continue, as well as the temperature cooling way down to -2, but feeling more like -9. Tomorrow morning, skies hopefully will be clear and sunny, but the temperature will range between -1 and -4. I'll be back with more later with our 5-day forecast. Back to you, Dahlia.
Thanks, Paulina. The Royal Canadian Legion says it's building a new local branch 25 building to include 35 affordable housing units in Sault Ste. Marie for renters. According to the Legion Vice President, local branch 25's original building served as a home away from home for many community members since the mid-1960s, but it was in need of repairs for some time. The building will include several new areas, including a museum and an upper level with 107 apartments. The Regional Food Distribution Association in northwestern Ontario says it's facing a shortage of its 10 key items it needs to provide food hampers for those within the community. They are having trouble finding other organizations to help, but the issue is being faced by food banks across the province as Canadians are feeling the pain of high grocery bills. However, the staff and volunteers at the RFDA will continue to be resourceful with the means that they do have to supply food and meals to the community. Indigenous women who have placed a trial and support are set to share their stories at an event on April 15th. The event Blockers and Attackers will bring together a group of women who have had incredible success in the sport world to talk about their journeys that help pave the way for others. The event will run the entire day and it's in support of the Niagara chapter of Native Women Inc. Winnick Miller, Olympic water polo medalist, will MC the event. Time for a quick break. When we come back, a look at national news, and Zellers has reopened their doors after multiple American retailers are leaving Canada. Welcome back. Federal Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre says his party will vote against the budget, which he called a full frontal attack on the paychecks of hardworking Canadians. Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet said his party also won't support the budget, stating that it does not meet healthcare funding needs. On the other hand, NDP leader Jagmeet Singh says he is proud of his party's rule enforcing the liberal government on key areas of the budget and help put money back in people's pockets. Earlier this year, we saw multiple big American retailers leaving Canada right before Zellers reopened their doors. Myrna Tony has the story.
First, it was Target back in 2014. And now, Nordstrom and Bed Bath & Beyond have announced that they will be pulling out of Canada after just a short period of time. Also, earlier this year, Nestle Foods announced they will no longer be selling more than half of their products here. As for the reason for the closures, the companies weren't making any profit. For instance, Bed Bath & Beyond Canada lost $99.5 million in just 9 months last year. And the closures of Nordstrom stores will cause a loss of $400 million. With a pattern of so many American retailers failing in Canada, one wonders why. Business administration expert Paul Leal says that American retailers don't understand Canadian consumers.
One reason I think is they're just not really understanding the Canadian market and the Canadian consumer. I think they're taking the same approach that they do south of the border and thinking that it's going to work in Canada, and they're not really recognizing that Canada is actually a very unique when it comes to consumers and how they shop and where they shop.
And customers seem to agree.
It's okay. I mean, I'll miss coming here. I'll miss looking at the product, but I know that I can get as good a quality elsewhere.
I mean, I won't miss it to that extent. You know, I mean, there are other stores that we like to go and shop at because that's within our budget. So I won't miss it a whole lot.
Back in 2013, Canadian retailer Zellers closed their doors after 82 years in business. Now they're coming back. However, this time their products will be sold at the Bay rather than a separate store. So far, Canadians seem to be loving it.
Nostalgic. I think it's cute, and I'm excited to see like what they have. If like it's as good as we remembered it to be.
I'm excited to see everything, and it looks like they have a really good selection of everything and good prices. So excited to see around.
With these American retailers leaving Canada soon, Zeller's return couldn't have come at a more perfect time.
For the Sheridan Sun, I'm Myrna Tony.
2 victims have been identified in a fire that destroyed an old Montreal building on March 16. 18-year-old Charlie Lacroix and Walid Belkahla have been extracted from the rubble and taken to a pathologist for identification. Officers have finished the investigation, saying there are no more bodies left in the fire and they were found with the help of search dogs. To protect the privacy of the victims' families, no further details will be provided about the victims at this time. Chinese Canadian politicians and academics are worried about racism after recent claims China interfered in Canadian elections. Canadian academics warned that the ensuing federal investigation could trigger a climate of fear and dissuade Chinese Canadians from running for public office. Edmonton City Councillor Karen Tang says she is worried that fear could set back years of progress, which helped bring diverse voices to all levels of governments. In the wake of the deadly shooting at a Nashville Christian school, police are uncovering more details about the 28-year-old shooter who killed the 3 kids and 3 adults. Ivan Rodriguez is in Nashville with the latest.
Monday's attack was the deadliest U.S. school shooting in nearly a year. Outside the Covenant School's entrance, there are now 6 crosses to remember those who were killed. A community united in their grief. Neighbors, friends, and family pay tribute to the 3 children and 3 adults killed at the Covenant School in Nashville, including the head of the school, Catherine Kuntz.
She treated everyone like they were the most important person in the room.
The governor of Tennessee sharing in their grief.
What happened at Covenant School was a tragedy beyond comprehension.
The attack unfolded over 14 minutes Monday morning. Body cameras reveal police running toward the sound of gunfire without hesitation.
I was really impressed that with all that was going on, the danger that somebody took control.
As police continue to uncover more about the shooter, a former student, the motive remains unclear.
The students that were targeted were randomly targeted.
Minutes before the rampage, a childhood friend of the shooter says she got an Instagram message from the shooter that they were planning to die that day.
Initially, I was, trying to comfort her, but as soon as I got it, it was just like, this is strange.
While the community waits for answers, a memorial continues growing outside Covenant Presbyterian.
This really hurts. And I just hope they're all with God.
The city of Nashville is holding a vigil tonight and establishing a fund to help the survivors of this shooting. The mayor says 100% of the funds will go to the victims' families. In Nashville, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Actress Melissa Hart posted a video to Instagram in which she described helping children escape from the school shooting in Nashville on Monday.
We helped a class of kindergartners across a busy highway that were climbing out of the woods, that were trying to escape the shooter situation at their school. So we helped all these tiny little kids cross the road and get their teachers over there, and we helped a mom reunite with her children. And
Hart revealed this was the second time her family had been near a school shooting, stating they had been living near Sandy Hook before moving to Nashville. Hart ended the video with tears, saying, "Enough is enough. Pray for the families." A school in Wisconsin has banned a first-grade class from performing the song Rainbow Land. The song was to be performed at a spring concert promoting unity and world peace. School officials say the song was removed because it could be deemed controversial, but parents say it was removed because it promotes LGBTQ acceptance. Rainbow Land was written and performed by Dolly Parton and Miley Cyrus. On Wednesday, King Charles and Queen Camilla have arrived in Berlin, Germany for the first tour of the King's region. Upon arrival, they were welcomed ceremoniously. The royal hope the visit will improve the UK's relation with the European Union. King Charles looks to emulate his late mother, Queen Elizabeth, winning hearts and minds abroad as she did for 7 decades. On Twitter, the couple posted that it was a great joy to be able to develop the long-standing friendship between our two nations. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has invited Chinese President Xi Jinping to visit Ukraine and speak with him. Zelensky says the two haven't been in contact since the war with Russia began, and that he is ready to see him here. This isn't the first time Zelensky has invited Xi to visit. However, this invitation comes just a week after Xi met with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning says she has no information to give when asked if Xi would accept the invitation. Time for another quick break. Still ahead, sports and entertainment news, as well as your 5-day forecast. And at the age of 14, Canadian swimmer McIntosh set a 400-meter freestyle world record. Welcome back. Time now for a look at entertainment with Sam Smith. Sam?
Thanks, Dahlia. The popular tabletop game Dungeons & Dragons has become more popular than it's ever been in recent years. There were tons of announcements and projects that were unveiled at yesterday's showcase, and here are some of them.
Here's the thing. We're a team of thieves. And when you do this, you're bound to make enemies. Sometimes those enemies come looking for revenge.
The release of a new trailer for the Dungeons & Dragons movie, Honor Among Thieves, shows off the main cast and will release next year. An upcoming crossover with the game Minecraft is also releasing a D&D-themed update for the game. And
we didn't mean to unleash the greatest evil the world has ever, but we're gonna fix it.
And my personal favorite, a short music video explaining how new players can learn and get into D&D as a whole. It seems there's never been a better time to pick up some dice and play with some friends. A Vancouver DJ, Jay Brody, who was working with actor Mike Myers on the Love Guru set, was fired for looking at him? Brody was a security guard for Myers' set and was told not to look at him at all. It sounded easy until hearing he was in a wig, prosthetics, and completely unrecognizable as Mike Myers. After giving the actor the okay nod to go into his trailer, not knowing it was Mike, Brody received a call within the hour telling him he's fired and to leave the set. Brody tweeted further context, saying that he was told they'd be fired within the week, but it wouldn't affect other projects. I hope you're ready for some music because a number of bands are touring together this year that you don't want to miss. Modest Mouse and the Pixies are touring across North America this summer, with some support from Cat Power as more show dates will be revealed over the tour. Modest Mouse is also heading on tour with Weezer later this spring, though no show times have been released yet. The first trailer for Wes Anderson's upcoming movie, Asteroid City, just released, and it's as weird as everything else the guy has made.
You're not here.
We're not there. The car exploded. Come get the girls. I have to stay here with Woodrow.
I'm not the chauffeur. I'm the grandfather. Where are you?
Asteroid City, Farm Route 6, mile 75.
The plot follows a Stargazer Space Cadet convention in honor of scholarly competition and science until it was interrupted by otherworldly occurrences. Some familiar stars in this movie include Jason Schwartzman, Scarlett Johansson, Tom Hanks, Willem Dafoe, and many more. Select screenings will begin on June 16th and in all theaters June 23rd. Terry Sanderson, the man suing Gwyneth Paltrow over a 2016 ski collision, took the stand on Monday, saying he was rammed into from behind and sent absolutely flying. Paltrow testified, saying Terry hit her first, but he said the opposite, and injury broke 4 ribs and changed his personality, causing strains in his family. Sanderson is suing Paltrow for $300,000, and Paltrow is countering with 1. Good for her. That's our entertainment news for the day. Let's take a look at sports now with Sean Porter. Sean?
Thanks, Sam. The Raptors got their 3rd consecutive win last night at home against the Miami Heat.
Down by 4. Scotty puts it on the deck. Drive, kick, swing. Boucher kicks it. Here's Achua attacking. Leaves it for Scotty Barnes.
Scotty Barnes had a standout game with 22 points and diving a career-high 12 assists. Tyler Hero led the game in the 33 points in the game, with only 6 left to play in the season. Toronto's spot for a chance in the playoffs looks all but secured. They currently sit comfortably in 9th and will play the 76ers Friday night on Sportsnet. Induction to the Basketball Hall of Fame is one of the greatest honors a player could ever have. Nominees for the 2023 were announced on Twitter last night by Adrian Wojnarowski, and it does not disappoint. Top names include superstars like Dirk Nowitzki, Dwayne Wade, and current coach Greg Popovich. Dirk spent his career with the Dallas Mavericks, winning the 2011 Finals and Finals MVP. Dwayne Wade spent most of his career with the Miami Heat, winning 3 championship rings, and playing with notable names like Shaq and LeBron James. Greg Popovich is the current coach for the San Antonio Spurs and has spent his entire 33-year coaching career with the team, winning 5 championships. The Leafs are at Scotiabank Arena tonight as they look to get their 2nd straight win against the Florida Panthers. The city is buzzing after the Leafs clinched their playoff spot for the 7th straight year. Whether they make it out of the first round or not, I think we all know the answer. Tonight's game will start at 7:30 on NHL Network. Messi reached yet another milestone with his national team, scoring 100 total goals with Argentina. His recent career achievement came in yesterday's friendly against Curacao, where he scored a hat-trick in a 7-0 victory for the club. In other news, Team Canada will play ahead in the semifinals in the Nations League after their 4-1 win yesterday against Honduras.
This game right here at People Field was actually Canada's first game of the World Cup qualifying campaign. Laren, touch and go with Osorio, back to Laren!
The team will head to Las Vegas for their next matchup against Panama in June. Canada looking for some newfound success after their disappointing 0-3 showing at the FIFA World Cup in late 2022. Canadian swimmer Summer McTonish broke the 400-meter freestyle world record last night at Canada's swim trial, clocking in at 3 minutes and 56 seconds.
The 50 to go, Summer McIntosh under world record pace.
Still under world record pace at 3:26.1. She is not.
She became the youngest swimmer ever to break an Olympic record. That's a look at your sports. Now on to the weather with Paulina.
Thanks, Sean. Our weather cannot make up its mind this week. As we take a look behind me, you can see live outside right now of Sheridan. We have some flurries going on as well as just mixed precipitation, and our temperatures continue to drop. So let's go back up to the 5-day forecast. I would love to talk about Monday back at the top. All right, starting off with Thursday, we have March 30th, which is during the daytime, expected it to be mainly sunny with wind up to 15 kilometers per hour. The high is +5 with wind chills at -9 in the morning, and the UV index is 4 or moderate. So get that tan on, or don't. Cloudy periods with 30% chance of rain showers or flurries this weekend, with a low of -2. Friday, my mom's birthday, I was hoping to report clear weather for this day, but expect rain throughout the day and evening, with the temperature being a high of low 8 degrees, and we need to wear our raincoats. Keep going. Saturday, expect those showers to continue with the high of 8, and these cloudy periods are expected to progress into evening with 40% chance of flurries and the low being a -9. Sunday, finally, clouds noted to creep in into the evening, with the low being a +1. And finally, into the new week. Monday, it's cloudy with a 40%, showers. The high is 11 with the low being +2. Thanks for tuning in. Back to you, Dahlia.
Thank you, Paulina. It may not be as cute and fluffy as puppies, but manatees are still beloved creatures. And today is Manatees Appreciation Day, as it falls on the last Wednesday of March. The purpose of this day is to raise awareness of the importance and preserving and protecting these gentle creatures of the sea. Manatees can be found in coastal water and freshwater rivers. They are often called sea cows because they spend about 8 hours a day grazing on seagrass. Unfortunately, manatees face a number of threats, including habitat loss, boat collisions, climate change, and pollution. This is why Manatee Appreciation Day is so important. It helps to educate people about the valuable role manatees play in our ecosystem and motivate us to protect them. That's all for your Wednesday, March 29th. For the Sheridan Sun, I am Dahlia Sibey. Thanks for watching.